Well, hello there, Dick. How are you this week?
I'm great, Mike. How are you feeling?
Doing well, doing well. It's been a hot one. Um,
It's been a warm week, but we kind
it
of
has.
knew that on Sunday. It was a little bit warm on Sunday, but wasn't it great to be back out with the folks from St. Luke's for in-person worship?
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll share a little bit more about that this week. Not only our first in-person worship, our continued online worship, and we'll talk a little bit more about this upcoming weekend as well. But before we get there, we're gonna have something on the Chicago Scripture Illumination Project, right? We have an update on that.
Yes. So if you remembered last month, I think ending in the middle of June,
Hmm.
we asked members of our congregation to consider taking a chapter in the Bible and kind of writing it in their own handwriting. Uh, you could illuminate it with questions, drawings, artistic configurations, and we had 7 members of our congregation do that. We actually had 6 that did the book of Galatians, and then
Hmm.
we had another person who did a chapter in the Gospel of Matthew. So what we're doing now, and we're going to be using this as the pastor's blog this week, and thank goodness for Claire Butner and Susan Pinto. They are putting it together so you can see it online on our website. The beautiful work that's been done by members of our congregation. So some are more colorful and creative than others. Mine, not so much, but it was a wonderful project. But there are some beautiful, beautiful handwritten chapters to Scripture. So we would encourage you to take a look at those and to click on the link when you have the opportunity.
Wonderful. That's
So tell
exciting.
us. Yes, it is. So tell us a little bit about how in-person worship went this week.
Yeah, yeah. So we had our first in-person worship at 10 a.m. Thank you first off to all the volunteers and those who have been participating in the COVID-19 task force at St. Luke's, who have been really just wonderfully passionate and engaged in conversations around how we can worship in person and figuring out safe ways to do that. So a huge thanks to that task force, as well as the executive council, or the executive committee of the council and the worship and music committee, who've been having these conversations. It was kind of nice after all the work that has been put in, all the thoughts and ideas and care, to have this come to fruition after a few months really of conversation. So we'll start with that. Just once again, a huge thanks for those individuals who've participated in these conversations. We had our first in-person worship service at 10 a.m. this past Sunday. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong here, Pastor Johnson, but we had around 70 people show up.
Right? We've
So
had a couple of different ideas about
yeah.
numbers, but 70 seems to be the one that everyone kind of is coalescing to.
Hmm.
So but it was a great group of people, and
Hmm.
I think that the experience was very positively received and celebrated communion as we are now doing on online
Hmm.
worship, and I think that was greatly appreciated. I know there was several people who said it was really emotional
Hmm.
after 4 months to come back together and gather in community. So
Hmm.
it was a really wonderful experience.
Yeah, and we're really glad that people were able to come out, physically distance themselves. There was plenty of room under the shade as well of the trees, if for those who wanted the shade, since it was pretty hot out this past week. But we also had some people sitting out in the sun as well. So the service was about 40 minutes or long or so. We were able to thanks again to our musicians this week, Ethan, who was able to play during the in-person worship. Beth Ann Lynch, who is our cantor, Kim Hendy, who was our reader, lector, and intercessor this week. So just a huge thanks to those folks as well. So once again, it was really great, just in the sense of being together in community. We were able to physically distance ourselves. Most people were able to bring their own chairs, which is fantastic. Wearing masks, which was part of our covenant of care as well, is if you're going to show up for in-person worship, we ask that you wear a mask. Even if you don't feel like you need it for yourself, remembering that we are part of a larger community, and keeping that in mind as well. So keeping one another safe as part of it. and people were bringing their own communion kits, right, Dick?
Were. I saw some pretty unique communion things, and then of course we also have communion elements here.
Mm-hmm.
If people don't want to or can't bring them to church, and we will have bulletins available and chairs available.
Mm-hmm.
But the safest way to do all of those things would be to bring them from home. That way you're the only one touching them,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the gear. That's what we really want to do, is to keep it as safe as possible. And from my experience, from what I heard from others' experiences, they all did indicate, everyone indicated that I talked to, that they felt very safe.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
this week, the only thing that would stop us is excessive heat, or driving rain, or I shouldn't say driving rain, but rain, because
Mm-hmm.
we do have electronic equipment that we can't have get wet. And then also, if it's really windy,
Mm-hmm.
because we are under the trees, we wouldn't want anyone to get hit with a branch or something like that. So
Yeah.
we will inform people by 7 o'clock that morning via email
Mm-hmm.
if there was a change. But just assume that we'll be worshiping unless you get an email from us.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I'll be preaching this week. Our director for music, Ann Krentz-Organ, is back from what had been a long planned family reunion. And so she'll be with us this week playing our music, and really looking forward to it. So for those of you who feel comfortable, once again, our in-person worship will be this Sunday at 10 a.m. And we'll be blocking off the streets starting around 9 or so, but we do ask that you arrive 15 minutes or so before the service begins. This week, Dick, we also have something on Saturday, is that right?
We do. So one of the things that I have come to just absolutely love at St. Luke's is a program or a project that Iris Henderson does with caterpillars and butterflies. A couple of years ago, she gave me a butterfly kit, and we did it at home, at night, and it was so emotional. I had never, even as a little kid, I had never had the opportunity to kind of watch a caterpillar, chrysalis, and then butterfly. And so that day when the butterfly came out of its cocoon and flew away, I mean, I literally, it was emotional. Well, Iris is coming to our children this week. And she's going to be talking on Saturday morning for our Zoom children's time at 10 a.m. And she's going to be describing the project. And then we are going to be giving the opportunity for children to come here by the church and pick up a kit, so that they can, have that experience for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're doing this week. We'll be doing a brief check-in as well. But Mrs. Henderson, the butterfly lady, will be our number one guest this week.
Yeah, I had the opportunity last year actually to participate as well. So it's a really awesome experience, and for those of you, thank you so much to Iris for providing that and caring for creation, as we know Iris and Jim to do as well. So yeah, wonderful. I think that's most of our updates this week. I don't know if there's anything else, just other than if you can't join us, for if you don't feel comfortable joining us, rather, for in-person service, we do have the pre-recorded service that will be online, which also includes communion as well.
Absolutely. Hey, Mike, have a great week.
You too. And you are taking a little bit of well-deserved vacation this week, Pastor
I will be
Johnson?
taking a couple of days off, so I'll be thinking about you. I will be on the Zoom call on Saturday via the wonderful gift of technology.
Good.
I will be back on Tuesday.
Wonderful. Well, enjoy your vacation, and like I said, it's well-deserved during this time, Pastor Johnson.
It's been a ride for everybody, but
yes,
thank you very much. I'm looking forward to getting back and being with our church council on Tuesday night.
On Tuesday as well. Yep. Wonderful. Have a great week. Have a great week, everyone.
Thanks.